Good morning, folks. Today is Wednesday, May 4th. Welcome to First Things First, Simply Cyber's daily morning cybersecurity threat briefing. I'm your host, Gerald Auger, and over the next 30 minutes, I'll be delivering the top cybersecurity news of the day and providing expert analysis on each of these stories, what it means to you as a practitioner, or if you're looking to break into the industry, we got something for you. Shout out and thanks to this stream sponsor, Barricade Cyber Solutions. Cyber criminals have stolen your company's data and derailed your business ops. Barricade Cyber Solutions will help you resolve this ransomware attack and get your business back on track. I want to remind you, if you hold professional certifications that require CPEs, First Things First is worth a half a CPE in episode, so 2.5 a week, 10 a month. Just go ahead and drop a comment so you'll show up. Timestamp, date stamped in chat, and if you ever get audited, you can just send them the link to this and be like, and now what? If you're live, love it. I see you all queuing up. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here with you. Thanks so much. If you're watching on replay, thanks for catching the restream. I know it can be tough, especially on the left coast, but I genuinely appreciate you getting that information. We'll actually jump to a comment for a reader feedback in a second here from someone who watched it on replay. If you want to skip the pleasantries, that little timer right there in the corner, you just go ahead and jump right to 0 and we will get into the story. But for the next 1 minute and 29 seconds, I'm going to be welcoming everybody into chat. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Age, not only IT, Matthew. Hey, Miss Julian, good to see you. It's been a minute. Jenny Housley, hello. Devnal Zen. East Coast, West Coast. Let's get that rivalry spun up again. Hey, Lupe, good to see you. I've seen you in here the last couple days. Haven't had a chance to say hello. So good to see you as always. Ryan, hope you're doing well, man. May the 4th be with you for sure. Hey, Kimberly. Happy Miami mornings, huh? Shuttle Crab, love having you here in the live stream. Love it. Hey, Dan. Guys, if you're watching on LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, any of those outlets, that's fine. You can definitely consume the content this way. But come over to the Simply Cyber YouTube channel. There's much more going on in the chat and emotes and all that other stuff. So again, LinkedIn is a fine way to consume it, but the YouTube is going to be more where it's at. Yes, this is not the malware you're looking for, Emilio. You got it. Midwest. All right. I see you representing Amatola. Hello. Hey, Karen. Good to see you. Justin Gold. Welcome, man. Welcome. Laritza. Hello. Guys, this is good. Alfredo, my man, good morning all. Yeah, small posse on YouTube. It's a squad. Got the coffee going. We're doing good. All right, so timer's up. I do want to take 1 second and talk about reader feedback or corrections. Guys, if you've been watching Simply Cyber's First Things First for a while, occasionally I get a lot of comments, frankly, on the videos and stuff. But sometimes I get constructive feedback or editorial commentary around what I'm actually saying. And I'll be the first to admit that I do not know remotely close to everything. In fact, there's a ton of stuff I'm ignorant about. And I try to be upfront and transparent with you guys. That's part of my social obligation to you, is to be honest and transparent. So yesterday's show, we had a story about Bitcoin, or about crypto mining, and I had made the comment about how the cost of mining doesn't correspond with the cost of return on your investment. And that's why normal people aren't doing it. Like if you could turn lead into gold, everybody would be rich because lead's cheap, right? And gold's valuable. So this user, I can't, with all due respect, I don't know how to read this name, but Kid 2000 mentioned that he's been mining she has been mining for a few years, has bought a Tesla, and is paying off going to be paying off their mortgage with the tens of thousands of dollars worth of crypto they're sitting on. She goes on to say that I know a lot about information security, which I agree with, but I get a lot of stuff really wrong. So a couple things. One, if this is, I don't mind. So secondhand information, as far as I know, is that, it's not cost benefit to mine. But apparently, this individual is making wealth, frankly, with the mining. So I'm wrong, I suppose, on these things, or maybe this is an exception to the rule. I don't know. But what I do know is if I say something that is not 100% accurate or has limitations or there is caveats or qualifiers to what I'm saying, don't put me on blast just to flame me. But like, if I get something wrong, please let me know, and I'll make the community aware of it. You know what I mean? I'm not out here trying to spread misinformation and nonsense to you guys. Okay. So thank you for Kid 2000 pointing that out. And I guess if you guys are looking to make some extra income, mining is I guess it's you can make more money than you pay in equipment and electricity. So there's that. I'll stick with my 9 to 5, but just to make this aware. Okay, guys, if you want to play along, we're getting into the security headlines. Okay, cisoseries.com is where we get our stories from, right? So head on over to cisoseries.com if you want to do it on your own time. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and enjoy the velvety tones of Gerald Auger's voice as we dive deep into the security headlines.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
It's Wednesday, May 4th, 2022. Google claims to have blocked billions of malicious app downloads. Google says it blocked 1.2 million apps from being published to the Google Play Store due to policy violations and estimates it prevented billions of harmful installations on Android devices. Google attributes this to privacy features, protections against malicious apps and developers, and improved SDK data safety, all rolled out last year, in addition to its routine scanning of installed apps. Additionally, Google says that in 2021, it banned 190,000 malicious accounts and closed 500,000 more inactive accounts.
Wow. Okay, so a couple things here. One, way to go, Google. I do appreciate that they are making an effort, guys. I really feel that like our tech overlords are, you see Meta with their privacy, and privacy policies and beginning to investigate misinformation and stuff like that. Now we're seeing Google do these type of things, like whether or not it's a play for public favor or if it's genuinely righteous policies. I appreciate this. Okay, so Google's stopping. It says billions of harmful app downloads. This is a little bit of a misleading statement because what they basically did was they stopped 1.2 million apps from being published to the Google Play Store. So 1.2 million apps got submitted for review and failed the review, meaning they got flagged for having harmful or malicious spyware, keylogging, those type of things, software elements in the code. So they're extrapolating that for 1.2 million apps. Those apps would have been downloaded many, many times in the upwards of billions. So this is billions of end users protected from 1.2 million apps. It just goes to show you, when we hear about these stories about Google spyware or, Google Android app spyware, like how many get blocked? To think about how many actually get through, it's kind of wild, honestly. 190,000 bad accounts. Sometimes when I see these type of things, it blows my mind, right? Like I might have 4 Google Mail accounts or 5 Google Mail accounts. And I'm like, oh, wow, there's a lot of Google Mail accounts. Dude, 190,000 bad accounts, like malicious accounts. That there's several threat actors that are running multiple of these in order to kind of have diffusion and limit the impact to their operations when one of their malicious accounts gets taken out. So very, very interesting, very cool. I'd love to see I would love to see some analysis on what type of malicious kind of behavior or malicious engineering is being put in the malware that's getting blocked. I mean, if they're blocking it, they could easily do an analysis on it. It would be interesting to see if it's like keyloggers or screen captures or what is it that is harmful about the apps? It just from a pure nerd perspective, would be interesting to see that.
NortonLifeLock willfully infringed malware patents. On Monday, a jury in Virginia federal court found that NortonLifeLock Inc. infringed 2 Columbia University patents and should therefore pay the institution roughly $185 million in royalties to cover the sales of infringing products. Back in December 2013, the trustees of the university sued Norton, claiming that version 6.0 of a product feature called Sonar Bash had infringed 6 intrusion detection system patents. The judge could raise the figure as high as $555 million because the jury found that Norton's patent infringement was willful. A spokesperson for Norton has refuted the ruling that it infringed on any of Columbia's patents.
Wow. Okay. So don't mess with Columbia, apparently. So what's interesting, guys, at universities, I know people bag on higher education, not me, in the cybersecurity community, but yeah, you don't need a degree to work in the industry, but it is interesting. It's good to know that at universities, research is being done. It's not just about educating students. It's about pushing the fold on what we know and developing new knowledge. And sometimes they get patents, right? And those patents have value. So Norton LifeLock, by the way, I'd be curious, formerly known as Semantic. I'd be interested on what their stock prices are doing. They've had a rough go, especially even the LifeLock. If you guys remember what that company happened to that company with the CEO and stuff, but they put in a decision tree, so like an algorithm on how it would model program execution. And Columbia is saying it's their algorithm, it's their technique, right? First of all, good on Columbia for being able to determine something that was baked into a software was in fact theirs. I almost wonder if someone who worked at this is what I think. Someone who worked at Columbia and was involved in the development of that, or very much aware of it, went on to work at Norton LifeLock and brought that knowledge with them, if I had to guess. Because there's no way to really understand whether or not the patent was being used. My guess is that's what happened, and possibly they tried to strike a deal with Columbia, and Columbia was like no, or they couldn't come to terms or something like that. But anyways, it could be as expensive as $500 million. So this is really crappy for a company that's already, not the top of the game in the anti-malware game. So don't mess with people's patents. That's basically the rule here.
Former eBay exec pleads guilty to cyber stalking. Former eBay executive James Baugh of San Jose, California, has pleaded guilty to taking part in a disturbing cyber stalking campaign against a married couple from Massachusetts. After the couple wrote critically about eBay in an online newsletter, they began receiving packages sent anonymously and containing horrifying contents, including live spiders and cockroaches, a fetal pig, a wreath of funeral flowers, and a book on how to survive the death of a spouse. The couple was also surveilled via a GPS tracking device affixed to their car, sent threatening private Twitter messages, and targeted with Craigslist posts inviting the public for sexual encounters at their home. 5 more former eBay employees have also pleaded guilty of being involved in the campaign.
Dude, what? Come on, man. This is a disturbing story. So flag this one as cyber stalking, the way that the internet can be used to harass people. But Jesus, come on. So an executive at eBay, which by the way is no slouch, right? So this dude's probably making high six figures, you would think, right? If he's truly an executive at eBay. By the way, does anyone else see the irony that he was the senior director of safety and security? Like the irony of that. But seriously, who the hell sends a package to a couple? I get that you're not happy about their comments about eBay, but eBay was huge. You must have received multiple scathing commentary over the years, right? But dude, sending a book on how to survive the death of a spouse, that is disturbing. I hope this guy gets basically really held accountable and not just what is this? Hold on. Sorry guys. It looks like co-conspirators, these guys pled guilty already and got 18 months in prison. Wow. Okay. So not messing around, guys. But seriously, what are we doing here? Like a comment, and you're gonna go to jail for 18 months and send fetal pigs to people. Sick.
Researcher exploits vulns in ransomware. A security researcher named Hyperlinks has turned the tables on several notorious ransomware operations, including Conti, Revil, Black Basta, and Lockbit, by identifying DLL hijacking vulns in their malware. For each malware piece analyzed, Hyperlinks has provided a description of the vuln, the hash for the sample, a proof of concept exploit, and a demo. The exploits provided can be exploited to stop the final and most damaging step of the attack, file encryption. In the near term, the exploits could help prevent operational disruption for some orgs. However, ransomware gangs typically are quick to fix bugs, especially when they are made public.
Yeah, I agree. So this is cool. First of all, like, this is a really cool piece of art for this story. Normally it's like stock images. This is pretty cool. I like this one. So guys, here's the deal. This is a fun one to talk about. I don't care if it's ransomware, key logging software, or an email program. It's all software. It's all just software, right? And software runs a certain way. The only thing that makes it malware is that its intent and its execution path does something unfavorable to somebody, right? It certainly does something favorable for the threat actors. Now, check this out. Basically, without getting too nerd here, the way that modern software works, right? At least in Windows, is you run an executable, and then you have these dynamically linked libraries, which are also executables, except you can't run them by themselves. And the executable that you're running can pull those DLLs in, and that allows you to have kind of software at scale because multiple programs can leverage the same DLL, right? That's basically how it works. Well, what this researcher has done is effectively hooked the DLL. So when the executable calls, like, whatever, ntdll.dll or kernel.dll or whatever, like Mike Jones DLL, right? It looks right in a directory for that DLL. So it's not checking the, software signature of the DLL. It's not checking hashes of the DLL. It's literally looking for the file name, grabbing it, and loading it into memory. So what this individual has discovered is if you effectively replace that DLL with this DLL, essentially hooking the DLL, it'll load your controlled DLL in, which will effectively exploit a weakness in the software, which is just code, and effectively render the ransomware ineffective, or at least the main damaging part it will fix. Now, guys, if we learned anything from the Conti leaks paper, at least Conti and Wizard Spider, they have absolute ton of developers on staff. Okay, they have so many developers on staff, and they were making improvements every 4 hours. Okay, as a Microsoft Defender signatures were coming out, or the ability for Microsoft Defender to catch their code. So expect this to be fixed. But this is a really cool case study of highlighting that malware, while it's big and scary and furry and all that, it's just software. It's software written by humans. Humans are fallible, just like, Microsoft Word has bugs. This ransomware, which is software, has bugs. So very cool piece of information. Again, I expect this to get corrected very quickly.
And now, we'd like to purchased phone location data during pandemic. According to newly released documents, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention bought access to location data harvested from tens of millions of phones in the U.S. to track compliance with curfews, visits to K-12 schools, and compliance with policies in the Navajo Nation. The CDC paid $420,000 to controversial data broker SafeGraph for access to 1 year of data. Google removed SafeGraph from its Play Store in June of last year. While the CDC used COVID-19 as a reason for purchasing the data, it also intended to use it for more general CDC purposes, including monitoring visits to parks, gyms, and weight management businesses.
All right, guys. So here's the deal. I know that the CDC is a bit of a polarizing topic for some in the United States around the COVID and stuff. So they were going to purchase, or they did purchase, location data to basically see pop health and pop movement, right? So not an individual. I'm not looking at where BSEC is. I'm looking at where general population of individuals are, because I don't care if it's BSEC or Kimberly. I care that there's a massive people congregating at this space, which could be a super spreader event. Okay, so I'm not terribly upset about that. What I do not like is two things. One, many non-COVID-19 purposes they were going to buy the data for too. So that starts becoming concerning and a bit of a reach. Now, that I don't know, man. It's like it becomes very just like, to me, location data, privacy. A lot of people get wrapped around the axle of like, well, I have nothing to hide. Who cares? Right? Well, it gets very dystopian very quickly. It's a slippery slope, guys, when you start talking about, I don't want to call it mass surveillance, but like understanding general population movement. And then you could start seeing, factions of groups of people that maybe misalign with what your political or governmental worldviews are. We're hearing quite a bit, honestly, about Roe versus Wade right now in the Supreme Court, maybe overturning that decision. Abortion, Planned Parenthood, whatever you want to call it, pro-life, pro-choice. That's a very, very polarizing topic, at least in the United States. And can you imagine, like, I mean, you can just see some of the use cases where you're starting to push down your own kind of I don't want to call it authoritarianism, but like you can use this data, right? So this is just kind of, for me, the story is less about the CDC using the data and more about how large organizations, whether government based or private sector based, can use this information for uh, a level of not control, but just I don't know how to explain it right now, so I apologize. But this is that anyone can do this, right? The CDC just stroked a check for 420 grand, right? I think the concern more is that we are being tracked at scale on where we're going, and all of us are carrying around homing beacons, right? Our cell phones are constantly pinging to like the 10th of a centimeter where we are. So careful.
New phishing tactics put verified Twitter accounts at risk. Twitter's blue badges, signifying a verified and vetted account, are highly sought after by threat actors to promote scam campaigns. Over the past week, numerous bleeping computer reporters have been targeted with phishing emails pretending to be from Twitter's verified account platform, stating that there's an issue with the recipient's verified account and instructing them to click the check notifications link for more info, which of course directs the user to a credential harvesting page. The phishing emails warn that ignoring the message could lead to account suspension. While this type of scam may seem bogus, just earlier this week, verified journalist Wu Dan Yan admitted to falling for a similar phishing scam.
Yeah. Guys, look at this fish. This fish is perfect, right? It's got the right color scheme. It looks like it's from Twitter. This is all, like, we're not seeing all sorts of silly typos. This exclamation point right here maybe is a little moderate indicator. But I mean, people work hard to get those blue check marks, right? They have a lot of, I don't want to say pride in it, but I mean, it is an exclusive thing that can only be earned by certain members of our population. So it is a point of pride. And if you're going to have it taken away or have your account suspended altogether, some people, like, they make money off Twitter, right? Like hashtag ad, right? So if you're talking about challenging part of their livelihood, you know that they're going to click on this. And having being able to steal that account and then turn around and sell it or hold it hostage, there is value for that. So not surprised. It's I mean, it all looks very real. I mean, the URL is obviously completely rubbish, but it's a thing. So way to go, bad guys, for your feedback-helps.com. There's no like end user awareness training that you have to take in order to get the blue check mark, right? You just have to be like a journalist or a celebrity or something like that. So, these phishing attacks are successful, and whatever. It's all about value, right? Follow the money. Someone's going to sell that check mark account, or get a checkmarked account and then say something kind of salacious, and that checkmark's going to lend credence and authority and trust to whomever's reading that, i.e., oh, send me 50 Bitcoin and I'll send you back 100 Bitcoin, right? We saw that with Elon, Bill Gates, a couple other major Twitter accounts last year.
Information board announcement causes backlash. During a congressional hearing last week, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announced a new disinformation governance board, which drew immediate criticism from the likes of Elon Musk and politicians who have called out the lack of information about exactly what the board will do and questioning whether it is appropriate for the government to identify and respond to disinformation. Mayorkas spent the weekend with news reporters trying to address concerns, but acknowledged that his team could have done a better job communicating the initiative. Asif, a cybersecurity law professor at the U.S. Naval Academy, said he understands concerns given the term governance applies authority, but points out that he is not in the conspiracy theory camp, highlighting that DHS has been working to combat disinformation for the past few years.
Yeah, DHS has been working to curb misinformation from foreign actors, right? So hold on. Do I have a sound effect for this one? I mean, yeet isn't really appropriate, but gosh, I'll throw a fireball at that one. Guys, this one's scary, okay? So, I'm an advocate of government, all right? I think government's good by and large. Obviously, government's only as good as the individuals who are in the elected roles for that government and can certainly make it bad quickly. There is some reference in here to George Orwell's novel 1984. If you haven't read it, it is a classic. And the Ministry of Truth, which was basically the department of this Orwellian government that was basically responsible for shaping what was true, not necessarily ensuring that all knowledge or information was true, but shaping the narrative that the Orwellian government wanted true. Okay, so what they're saying here is that there is concern that, and again, guys, this is just like that CDC tracking thing. It's a slippery slope. You can start off with very good intentions, very righteous mission, and then you achieve that mission, you get that righteous goal, and then you're like, well, what else can we use this for? Oh, wow, let's do this, right? So if you're able at the government level to strike information or label something officially as misinformation, like how far is it a reach before you're striking things that you disagree with or don't align with the narrative that you want spun, right? Again, I'm not comparing. This is possibly a bad example, but think about what is going on in Russia right now. Like Vladimir Putin has determined or passed a law to say what's going on in Ukraine right now is not a war. If you say the war or refer to the conflict as a war, even if you refer to it as a conflict, you are thrown in jail, or at least you're arrested. My understanding is that you're thrown in jail. Maybe I'm wrong, but you definitely are arrested. It's illegal. You have to refer to it as a special military operation. That's the only approved way of referring to it. That, to me, is an example of using government labeling in order to shape a narrative for the masses. So you've got to be very careful, guys, when it comes to this type of thing, right? Again, I appreciate the altruistic approach of making sure that citizens are informed with legitimate information, but you've got to have oversight. You've got to have governance. You've got to have transparency, or else this thing can get out of control real quick.
Crypto miners pose threat to frail Argentine energy grid. Argentina's crypto frenzy is putting the energy grid of Tierra del Fuego province in Patagonia near a breaking point as crypto mining firms flock to the province to take advantage of cheap energy costs. According to a local report, crypto mining is expected to consume close to a quarter of the province's electricity supply through October. Local officials warn that crypto mining, together with an already feeble energy infrastructure, is putting their energy grid at risk of collapse. Last month, President Alberto Fernandez signed an agreement with the International Monetary Fund to reduce energy subsidies and discourage the use of cryptocurrency.
Yeah. So maybe that individual who messaged me about yesterday's show is is mining in an area where the electricity is more affordable. I didn't even consider that. Okay, so guys, this particular story, not cybersecurity related, but it is interesting. Little crypto. Okay. Tierra del Fuego's grid is getting challenged right now. 25% of the entire electricity being generated down there is going to crypto, and more people are moving there. I am really, really, really lucky that I have actually been to Tierra del Fuego. This is the southern tip of South America. Famously, if you Google Tierra del Fuego, like the tribal citizens that were there when colonialism kind of went there, very interesting. It's down here in this space right here, like the tip of South America. Very cool stuff. Oh, here you go. Yeah, you can see here those individuals. So anyways, I've been there. It's not really I wouldn't call it super industrial. So the fact that it's being challenged like that is a concern. But if it's not Tierra del Fuego, it's somewhere else, guys. So be mindful of that. Like, just as a story, right? Again, it doesn't affect most of us unless you're an Argentinian chiming in here for first things first, then it does potentially affect you because that energy grid's going to get challenged and then kind of surge outward. So whatever, that's just interesting. Guys, that's going to do it for First Things First. If you're interested, later today at 11:30 a.m., I will be playing ThreatGen Red versus Blue, the cybersecurity simulation platform. I'll be blue team today, which is why I'm wearing my Lima Charlie EDR shirt. Try to wear on-brand shirts for what I'm doing in the sim. I'll be applying the Australian government, Australian Signal Directorate, Essential 8 maturity model cybersecurity approach, right? So different frameworks, right? I've done CIS 20, aka CIS 18. Maybe I'll do NIST CSF one day, but today I'm going to be implementing rigidly this cybersecurity framework and seeing how it stacks up against an active adversary. So if you want to learn about this model, this approach to cybersecurity, the Essential 8, come hang out with me. I will be pairing it with Simply Cyber. It's on ThreatGen, but it'll be on Simply Cyber as well because it's got an educational component to it, and I want to deliver that to you guys. Also tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be doing Simply Cyber Live, talking about tattoos or taboo. Taboo. Guys, I have a Google Drive for people to drop their tattoo pictures in. I actually got a comment that maybe the permissions are wrong on it, so I will check those permissions, but check the Discord server, simplycyber.io/Discord, or ping me on LinkedIn or something like that if you want to submit. I actually got a comment from someone this morning who has a full body suit tattoo that he wants to share with the community, which sounds really, really awesome. So anyways, we're going to dig into that. We're going to have a good time. Guys, if you got value out of this, and I genuinely appreciate it, hit like, right? Hit the like. It takes 1 second, and that's a good way to say, I like what you're doing, Jerry. Thank you very much. If this is your second time here or more, consider hitting subscribe. I went and looked at the metrics yesterday, the analytics. 48% of people who watch First Things First are not subscribed to the Simply Cyber channel, right? So if you're coming back more than once, do me a solid and hit subscribe. It's cool and it helps me out, and it also lets me know that you're interested, right? So I can manage expectations and stuff like that. All right, guys, thanks to Barricade Cyber Solutions for sponsoring the stream. My name's Jerry Auger, and if you want, come back at 11:30 and we'll hang out. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Cheers, everybody.